Good morning. I'm former Secretary Edwin Lacierda from Pinoy's Administration.
Mahupay nga aga, maayong buntag, I'm former Governor Ben P. Evardone.
And we are
The Spokes.
From the palace halls to our group chats now, we'll be giving you conversations that will make you think and assess so that you could come up with your own personal opinion. For today's headline noted by the Spokes, former Senator Sonny Trillanes has filed cyber libel and perjury complaint against the 18 ex-Marines and several pro-Duterte supporters. So nag-file siya kahapon, nagsabi na rin siya ilang beses na nakakasuhan niya eh. Ang kakasuhan niya, marami. Yung 18 Marines, si Jason Sa, si Levi Baligod.
Ang ano nga dyan, ang nakikita ko lang dyan, Sec Edwin, para nakikita mo yung polarization ng military.
Okay.
But we are talking here about the retired, kasi ang alam ko sa yung mga nakaupo ngayon, solid for to defend the Constitution,
right.
Yung process, democratic process, yun sila. Pero itong mga AFP officials, talagang may may politically divided na talaga sila.
Yung mga civilians na involved dito, medyo identified sa DDS. Si Lorraine Badoy, si Jason Sa, si Levi Baligod, si Mike Defensor, ating kaibigan. Si Mike, kamusta? Mag-ingat ka.
Yun nga eh. Yan ang ano. Pero ako parang hindi ako komportable at hindi masyadong happy na yun ang headlines natin at yun yung pinag-uusapan, which should not be the case. Dapat nasa inside pages yan yung newspaper kung kung akong editor, nasa ano yan, or meanwhile na lang yan, hindi yan ulo, pero ngayon nasa ulo eh. Hindi masyadong sa akin, mas maraming pressing issues that need to be discussed, need to be resolved, that need to be addressed. So, instead na yan, bangayan nila, politika yan eh.
Kasi medyo kasi yung ang allegation against Senator Trillanes was he received $2 million.
So, yun lang.
Also, si Secretary Anyo was also already filed a cyber libel case against them.
Nakulit din ako doon. In fact, I learned na talagang nagdi-deny vehemently si Secretary Anyo about that. Very unlikely.
Very unlikely because we've worked with him before.
So, maybe part to ng alam mo na, yung laro, maybe, I don't know, if part of a grand design.
But it's obviously there's a political thing at play here today. No? So, because of the pending impeachment case against VP Sara, so this is a counter-offensive, I suppose, of the side on those who believe in Vice President Sara. So, it's going to be a messy situation. I think it will take a lot of headline niya. So, yung idea mo na baka ilagay sa second page, baka hindi mangyari.
Yun nga eh. That's very unfortunate for our country.
Ang dami rin kasing mga public figures na dinamay doon eh.
Yun nga eh. Sobrang, politics dito sa atin. 2028, malayo pa eh.
Oo,
malayo pa. At saka siguro, isang factor dyan kasi parang si VP Sara lang, pinakamaagang nag-declare na kakandidato eh.
In your experience, hindi maganda
parang ganun eh. Sa akin, tingin ko, it's too early for her, no?
What happens if it's an early declaration?
Siyempre, lahat na nakatingin sa kanyang ganyan, kakalkalin na lahat yung mga dapat makalkal dyan.
Pero on one hand, di ba, yan ang magiging basis na sasabihin ni VP Sara na lahat na ginagawa nila, pinupolitika ako.
Pero kung may katotohanan,
yun ang
paano yan? Kasi I know you're already my opponent. I will dig deeper on your dirt.
Si Ombudsman Boying naman, may question siya doon sa affidavit nung 18. Parang kasi pag lahat kayo pumirma, ang ibig sabihin, lahat kayo, alam niyo mga personal situation nung events na nangyari. So, medyo sa kanya, kaduda-duda, hindi naman, it's not possible for, at least in his mind, it's not possible that 18 of them were all together and they're all familiar with the events that they said that they know.
Yun. I don't know, ikaw, from a lawyer's point of view, di ba?
I think tama naman si
parang mahirap nga, di ba? Para pareho natin alam yung mga details, pati yung mga mali na sinasabi ng iba.
One thing surprising, si retired General Hermogenes Esperon, lumantad at nag-express ng support for the 18 ex-Marines.
Yun. Early on, nakikita ko na yung mga pangalan niya dito sa kabilang side. So, yung iba nga may mga speculation dahil siyempre si General Esperon was very close to the former president kay GMA. May mga ganong nagwa 1+1 sila But in fairness to the former president, tahimik siya, wala siyang imik dito sa mga nangyayari.
So hindi siya
Apparently, I don't think so kasi siguro may
edad na rin siya. What does your Marites radar say?
May edad na rin siya at saka siyempre
saan baka maaga pa?
Yan, that's another. Although siyempre alam natin na very close siya kay VP Sara, no? Very close siya. If I recall right, in one of the hearings, that's what last year yata, na isa siya sa mga defender ni VP Sara sa budget, di ba? If I recall, in Congress. So, we don't know. Yung mga ibang mga, doon, talaga yung, kasi grupo-grupo yan Kilala ko yung mga tao doon karamihan ng mga nandun talagang nasa kabilang side.
Okay, abangan natin, no? Another news noted by the spokes, 56 prosecution witnesses will testify against former Senator Bong Revilla and his co-accused. Ang dami.
Dami. Gulat naman ako. Sino yung mga yan? Grabe naman.
Alam mo, baka lahat yun, may personal knowledge. Ang problema nun, baka humarap, this is just my assumption, baka lahat yun, may personal na instances that they related to Bong Revilla. Kasi hindi ka naman pwede mag-testify unless you have a personal knowledge. Maybe documentation-wise, maybe testimonial-wise. Pero ang dami nun, 56.
Oo nga parang ngayon lang nakarinig na ganun. Ito ba, from a lawyer's point of view, Attorney Edwin, kung halimbawa, di ba, 56, i-rebat ng defense yung, halimbawa, 40, na wala, na disregard, etc., may remaining pa. Anong magiging tanong niya, ng judge?
Alam mo, Sandigan Bayan, at the minimum, 3 justices yan So, division of, three justices in one division. May kanya-kanyang kuro yan So, we don't know how they will weigh it. Obviously, they will see, they will sift through the evidence, what is true and what is false.
Pero I think one thing is sure about these 56 witnesses. Tagal lang kaso niyan. Kasi isa-isahin mo, isasalang yan Di ba? Ihasalang ng prosecution. I-cross-examine ng defense. So, isa-isa di ang tagal niyan. In the meantime, paano si Senator Bong? Yun ang problema.
Yung panahon na, in the first time na kinasuhan siya doon sa Napoles case, umabot din sa panahon ni President Duterte. So, talagang medyo mahaba
Pero ilan na witnesses against him at that time?
Ito 56. Depende kung, ang theoretically, there should be a speedy trial So, yun ang dapat. Yung kaso ni Bong Revilla involves 92.8 million flood control project in Pandi, Bulacan.
Oo nga. Dapat yung mga billion naman, yung mga billions na di ang mga witnesses niyan, mga 1,000.
Unless depende yan kung documentary evidence lahat yan. Mas mabilis, no?
Pero ito, identified ng mga tao
Yun na nga
Diba?
Yun na nga ang
56. Ang tagal niyan. Ang tagal ng kaso yan ang nakikita ko dyan.
Pero Gov't, parang wala masyadong public interest yata dito.
Parang wala na Parang wala na kasi nag-aantay nasan yung iba, ano na nangyari
At sa dahil hindi siya incumbent siguro na senador.
Isa pa yan, siguro. Pero parang ang pangalawa nga ang point nga diyan, nasaan na yung mga iba na napangalanan earlier on?
Ay hintayin natin. Yan dapat sagutin ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla. Anyway, another headline noted by the spokes, Congresswoman Laila de Lima is asking for the protection of detained whistleblower Ramil Madriaga.
Oo nga, parang isa to si Ramil pinaka-critical witness against the VP Sara sa impeachment.
Yan yung bagong allegation maliban dun sa Quadcom kasi hindi yan lumabas yung Quadcom So there's the new impeachment complaint includes the testimony of Madriaga. Ang balita, may banta sa buhay niya. Kaya Congresswoman Laila de Lima is asking for protection.
Paano? Pero nakakulong siya Dapat
palilipat mo.
Kaya nga nagre-request siya sa NBI or
sa NBI.
Krami ba? Or...
Alam mo nung sa hearing ng sufficiency in substance nung House, yung asawa, yung byuda ni Governor Degamo, nagsalita. Di ba, remember, dito yung pumapasok yung kay Bong Suntay na medyo loko yung hayop na yun. Anyway. Pero yung,
loko talaga.
Yung si Governor Degamo was mentioning, sabi kasi essentially ang sabi naman ni Bong Suntay, threat without additional action, well, hindi crime yun. Di ba? Pag nagbanta ako sa'yo, papatayin kita, Ben, wala akong nangyari, walang crime yun. Yan ang position ni Bong Suntay in a criminal case. Si Governor Degamo, the wife, Woman Degamo, mentioned, nag-umpisa yung banta just banta. And then suddenly, naging conditional banta. At nangyari na nga. So you cannot dismiss
of course,
a threat like that, especially when it is said by the Vice President. It has to be taken seriously.
Of course.
In America, in the United States, a threat to the President is already considered a federal crime. And I think it should be done also here. The Vice President, the President's positions should not be taken lightly, should not be dismissed as if they're just an ordinary public official.
In fact, I talked to several lawyers na ang tingin nila, even this alone is already a very strong case against VP Sara for impeachment.
In fact, may mga banta, may mga suhol kay Madriaga, huwag ka na magsalita, bibigyan kita ng 500 million to a billion na lagay. Kung ganun kalaki yan, that means mahalaga yung testimony ni Madriaga. And that's the reason why perhaps Congresswoman Laila de Lima is asking for protection for...
Yun nga, sama-sama na yan, yung offer na, na manahimik at saka to silence him.
Kung hindi mo mabayaran, patay, yan na lang, i-eradicate mo na lang.
Palagay ko, hindi mababayaran yan si
Kilala mo ba yun?
Hindi. Nagulat lang din ako niyan.
Oo nga eh. Makakaibigan ni Aileen.
Akala ko ni Bong Suntay.
So anyway, Laila de Lima has been asking authorities to ensure the safety of Madriaga.
Tama naman. I think NBI and PNP should act on
you're
the
right,
request.
no? His testimony may be significant in the impeachment case.
Possibly,
so
Possibly. Kasi otherwise, bakit nga siya pupontaryahin, di ba?
But in any event, in fairness to VP Sara, nag-file siya ng perjury case against Madriaga. So we will see. Anyway, so these are the headlines noted by the spokes today. We'll discuss the concrete plan of the government to repatriate Filipino workers in the Middle East with DMW with the Department of Migrant Workers official when the spokes return after this short break. And the spokes is back. More than 1,000 Filipinos have already requested repatriation. Question is, what's the action plan of our government? And to help us understand this looming massive repatriation, joining our discussion is Department of Migrant Workers Undersecretary for Policy and International Cooperation, Attorney Jainal Rasul Jr. Welcome to the spokes, Yusek. Did I pronounce your name right?
Welcome,
Jainal.
Welcome, Yusek.
Jainal.
Yes.
So, di ko alam kung J sa ano.
Yes.
Welcome.
But
veteran na pala to sa industriya. Yung tagal na niya. Labor attaché.
How are you related to Senator Amina Rasul and how long have you been working in...
Senator Santanino Rasul is the aunt of my dad, actually, by blood.
The aunt of your dad?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So that my late father and Amina is already cousins already.
And how long have you been with... DMW is a recent creation. But
Yes.
how long have you been involved
Starting with the DOL in 1997, I was already a labor attaché. My first post of assignment was in Libya.
Libya. Gaddafi.
Nung buhay pa si...
Alam mo, I've been there. Napunta ako doon nung buhay pa si Gaddafi. Nako, kwento ko lang konti. As a journalist, dinala kami doon. Sila John Bautista nung araw. Dinala kami. Kinonfiscate yung mga passport namin. They torture to show to the world that okay sila doon. May kami, mayroong window. Nag-interview kami ng mga Pinoy doon. Naku, nasundan kami. Talaga trinated
Ano
kami.
ginawa sa'yo? Anong purpose for going to Libya kung hindi
Kasi
interview
nga,
mga Pilipino?
Gusto nila, hindi yung mga Pinoy.
Controlled.
Yung ano lang.
Libyans.
Oo, grabe. Anyway, yan ang Libya nung araw.
So June, this was totally unexpected. I mean, did you have an inkling that when President Trump was already sounding off that there were plans to invade Iran.
Yes.
How did DMW take that news?
We were closely monitoring also, of course, the situation, political situation there, and especially after the fact that when President Trump sent naval fleets.
Yes.
So yun na eh.
There's already positioning. We feel that there might be a possibility.
So what did you do?
confrontation.
Did you craft a contingency plan already
Well,
for
speaking of
any eventuality?
yes, sir. Speaking of contingency plan, all the embassies all over the world, all our Philippine Foreign Service posts have
Right.
contingency plan. They are updated on a yearly basis and as the need arises. So lahat po ng embassies, consulates, meron pong contingency plan.
So you're saying
in
na prepared
place.
tayo for
We're
this?
always prepared. Yeah, that's why we have this crisis alert level system, alert 1, 2. It's always in place there ever since.
Can you explain to us the different crisis levels?
Yes, sir. Sure. There are 4 alert levels. 1 is precaution. Alert level 2 is restriction of movement. Alert level 3 is voluntary repatriation. And alert level 4 is mandatory repatriation.
Let's say a
or
practical
evacuation.
situation. So alert level 1 is, for instance, so there's already news that Iran will be bombed, or America will bomb, or Israel will bomb
Precaution
Iran.
yun.
That's level 1.
It's not really about it exactly,
Right.
but there's some political instability
Right, right.
or possibility of some military confrontation or calamity. It can
Right.
be civil unrest as well, or
So in a precautionary phase, what does the embassy or the consulate do?
yeah. For alert level 1, it's precautionary, mostly advisory only. The embassies issue alert system advisories and caution the people to be vigilant, to stay calm, and to be observant to the surroundings and situations.
I'm curious, here dito may emergency alert tayo eh.
Yeah.
Sa abroad, let's say for instance in Iran, how do you inform our compatriots there? Kasi how do you text? How do you inform our Filipino OFWs?
Especially now because of the social media.
Right.
Ngayon, mas
Kalat yan,
mabilis,
Mas mabilis po ngayon.
So may Facebook.
Paano
nilalagay
paano
nila.
yung fake accounts? Fake news?
Well, the embassies, the consulates, and of course the Department of Foreign Affairs and the Department of Migrant Workers, we have Facebook page.
Tsaka normally there are associations eh. Normally ganyan, di ba?
Yes.
Kinokontak yung
Yeah. So
Kinokontak
this
yung leader.
alert level system, of course, is based on the political, security, economic assessment in the post. So there's a risk assessment. There's also a threat evaluation. So
Right.
they're all based on this political.
So how about yung
economic
alert
assessment.
level 2?
Restriction phase. When do
paano-
you move up to level 2?
When there's a heightened what is this escalation of the situation and
Halimbawa, nagrarally na, nagrariots yung mga ganun ba yun? May uprising sa isang bansa.
Yeah.
Yun ba yun? You can consider
In the
that
case of Iran, like in the case of Iran, what prompted you to move to alert level 2?
well, in most of the Middle East countries now, based on the DFA's issuance, there's yet no alert level declaration of alert level 2. But of course, for Israel, there is an existing alert level 2. For Jordan, alert level 1. Lebanon, 2, the same. So,
Bakit ngayon level 2 pa lang Lebanon sa Israel?
Kasi binomba ng Israel nandun yung mga proxy states proxy groups ni Iran.
the assessment is also based on the extent of the instability.
Right.
And so far as the critical infrastructure services are concerned, whether there are disruptions
Right.
in the services, whether there are power outages,
I see. Kumbaga,
shortage of water or food or delivery of services or even job displacement or
so how about level 3?
Level 3?
Level 3 is more heightened because there's already direct confrontation. Then there is a voluntary repatriation mode, meaning for those who want to be repatriated, The Department of Migrant Workers stands ready to assist them.
How do you assist them? Kasi when you say voluntary repatriation, I'm an OFW, ako, gusto kong umuwi. So how do you assist me in going, be repatriated back to the Philippines?
Well, aside of course from the ticket, we have to do the documentation, travel documentation, exit visa for most of the Middle East countries. There's a requirement for exit visa.
Paano kung hindi pa tapos yung contract ko? Ayaw ko paalisin ng employer ko.
That's where we come in. We have to negotiate with the employer.
Okay.
Because naturally, the employer would not
Oh,
like.
you mean to say the consulate will speak to the employer?
That's a job of the Migrant Workers Office.
Okay.
Our labor
okay.
offices, we negotiate with the employer through recruitment agencies in the post, and to explain and justify the reasons why these workers should be allowed to go home.
And so the exit visas, all the necessary documentation, the role of the MW is to expedite.
To expedite and also to negotiate for the waiver of the penalties. If there are
Yung
immigration
penalties. I was
fines.
about to say that
Yes.
kasi hindi mo tatapusin yung contract eh. So yung penalty clause ang dyan. Now, once kababayan natin is repatriated, voluntarily nandito, nakatenga siya, wala siyang hanap buhay, mayroon ba kayong intervention?
Well, we have this reintegration phase as part of the contingency protocol. Tinutulungan po siya ng OWA, ng TESDA for reintegration, ng scholarship, may assistance, financial assistance.
Immediate livelihood.
Yeah, mayroon pong financial assistance.
Magkano?
Well, for financial assistance, it varies po. But mayroon tayong action fund sa Department of Migrant Workers that will cover medical, legal, repatriation expenses, and other analogous circumstances.
In short, wala silang gastos. Sa pag-uwi.
Pag-uwi po, ito sagot
Wala.
yun.
Ang pag nandito na, totoo ba yung may mga lumalabas na mayroon silang 150,000 pesos?
Hindi po totoo yung 150,000.
So hindi totoo yun.
OWA admin PY already made a clarification yesterday in her Facebook account. That's the truth po, mali po yun.
So magkano kung if at all?
For distressed workers po, it varies. May 50,000, 75,000, and 100,000 in case of death. Binibigyan po natin ng 100,000 yung family.
Hindi, yung umuwi nga dahil
Ito ngayon po lately because of the volume, we're expecting volume, I think binigay umuwi 10,000 pesos po. Parang
ang liit.
Right now, we're talking about alert level 3. Alert level 4 is mandatory repatriation.
Yes,
so
evacuation
everybody should go home?
Yes.
And if they don't?
Well,
It's up to them.
It's up to them. It's their personal decision if they don't want to go home. At least the government is there, the MW, DFA, they're trying to help them relocate and evacuate.
So it's really mandatory on the part. You will urge everyone, but if that's why there appears to be in Syria, there are other countries have declared
Oman
alert
yata,
level 4, di ba? Wala pa. Syria, Yemen, and Gaza.
In Gaza, in Iraq, yes, during the war.
Yung present situation, ano yung mga mayroong forced evacuation tayo?
Yung sa Lebanon, during the war, there was a forced evacuation.
Sa ngayon, wala ba? Wala?
Wala po sa ngayon. Under itong Iran-Israel crisis, no, wala po. Wala pang forced evacuation.
What is I understand that Israel and another country, I think, had the most number of Filipino OFWs.
In the Middle East,
Yes, Israel. I mean, in the areas affected right now, Israel and Jordan have the most number of Filipino
2 million
OFWs.
yata doon. 2 million yata
total
eh.
Middle East, there are about 2.5 million
Yun,
Filipinos.
2 million. No? Documented and undocumented.
The biggest concentration of Filipinos is, of course, in UAE now, close to 1 million, followed by Saudi Arabia, 850,000 more or less. Then Kuwait, Qatar, Israel, we have roughly 30,000 Filipinos there. Jordan,
Right.
about same.
But at least in UAE, the government is really helping the tourists. So are they extending any help to our OFWs?
Right now, yes, they're giving advisories. They're announcing there's nothing to worry about. The government is taking care of all the residents there. mostly foreign expats, and they've announced a shelter in place.
Na parang na-monitor nga isang Filipino community leader doon, parang sinasabi niya that we are being well taken care of by the government here in UAE.
Yeah.
Maganda raw ang ano sa kanila.
So you have different alert levels, but how do you prioritize who should be repatriated first? Is it a first in, first out?
Okay. These are all preparations
Right.
from alert 1, 2, 3. These are the government is of course based on scenario
Right.
setting. So as it worsens, when the conditions warrant, but for repatriation purposes, we advise them to register with the embassy or consulate or migrant workers offices on site. Then we advise them, of course, to complete their travel documentation, their ICAMA, their ID, and if they have some problems with their employers, they have travel ban, they have personal loan, they have to settle it. There's traffic violations, because that would hamper or delay the processing of their exit visa. So we will start helping them, assisting them in securing immigration clearances, as well as police clearances, as the case
So
may
first
be.
in, first out. Kung wala kang problema, you go home first.
Of course, yes, and then we, of course, we like here we,
Hindi ba dapat
we give priority
hindi
to
ba dapat based on risk ganun?
yeah.
Kung mas situation ito risky, dapat yun ang unahin.
Yeah.
Di ba?
So,
So in that question, can I ask, are you prioritizing, for instance, Filipinos in Iran and in Israel?
Yes.
it depends, sir, on the alert level. Right now, the parties here in the conflict is, of course, Iran and Israel.
Right.
And then the other countries are just being collaterally involved because of the
The presence of bases,
Yes.
American bases.
and the extent of the exposure or risk in the part of the OFWs is the debris falling because of the interception, missiles being intercepted, and when, of course, when they are residing near the military bases or oil refinery or airports on.
Mayroon bang QRF ang mga embassies natin lahat, your DMW, meaning quick response fund na immediately ito kailangan matulungan. Mayroon bang mga ganon?
Meron tayo.
Dapat mayroon eh.
Meron tayong, ang DMW po, merong action fund. And that is, yung agarang kalinga sa
How much is that?
For this year, it's 2 billion.
Parang 2 billion ang alam ko eh. 2 billion.
Is that sufficient?
It's not, yeah.
It's,
kulang.
so much less than the flood control.
Kulang na kulang yun, especially with this magnitude of crisis.
And on the part of OWA, there's also this emergency repatriation fund.
And how much is the emergency repatriation
I'm
fund?
not so sure the exact amount. Also, the Department of Foreign Affairs have this legal action fund.
I just want to go back on the repatriation. So, for instance, if I want to go home, pero wala akong pera, will you provide assistance on the repatriation?
Yes, especially if you're distressed,
Right.
and you have no means to
Right.
to buy your ticket for that. Yes, we will assist.
And that assistance is given for free or babayaran
No,
eventually?
it's for free.
It's free.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
So,
In fairness naman, may mga kababayan ako, ganun eh.
So, pwede kami lahat magsabi, wala kaming-
papatulong ng umuwi,
wala
ganun,
kaming pera.
minamaltrato. In fairness,
Distressed OFW.
tinutulungan.
but how do you ask them to present your distress OFW?
Well,
Kung wala tayo, sabi, Manong, wala akong pera. Okay na yan. Sige na.
we have to verify from their employer if they have existing contract, in the status, and
Okay.
whether they were pre-terminated.
Madugo yung mga ganyan.
No,
Pero anyway, at
mahirap
least
ba? Malaking
government is
trabaho
there.
yan eh.
I have to ask, you're looking at repatriation via airplanes. So that's the fastest way. But suppose, like, there are bombings all around. The possibility of
airspaces are
doing
closed.
traveling by air is
Yes.
quite difficult.
Yes.
Have you identified land exits in those areas?
Yes. So that's part of the contingency plan for na merong mga bawat embassies and consulates. So the mode of transportation or repatriation is by land, by air, and by sea.
Okay.
So we have identified exit points. There are also staging points, converged assembly points. just to be able to implement an orderly movement of people. So meron pong mga temporary shelter dyan. In the case of Kuwait, for example, there are 3 exit points, 2 with Saudi Arabia, 1 with what is this? Saudi Arabia and 1 by sea.
But in the case of Iran, how many exit points have you identified?
Because the number of Filipinos there
Quite few?
Is,
about 800 only, and mostly spouses of Iranians.
Okay. So, but at least all these contingency measures are in place now.
Are in place,
Okay.
yes, definitely.
You know, yesterday, Senators Edwin and Rafi Tulfo berated DMW for not answering calls and inquiries.
DMW at
and
saka DFA
and
at
the
saka
absence
OWA.
of Filipino employees in the Middle East offices. I would like you to respond to that, but before you respond to this issue, the spokes will return after the short break. And the spokes is back, still with USEC Jun Rasul of the DMW. So our hanging question yesterday, medyo nagalit si Rafi at Senator Rafi at Edwin Tulfo, no? And berated DMW, DFA, and other agencies for not answering calls and inquiries in the absence of Filipino and the absence of Filipino OMWs, DMWs employee in the Middle East offices. Now, and how do you respond to that?
Well,
Is it true in the first place?
we have hotlines. We have one repat center in DMW. All the posts have hotlines and phone calls and
Wala nga raw
directories.
sumasagot eh.
Meron part of OWA, meron din e-cares, they can email. Dito sa DMW, about 300 people are manning the action center unit. All to
When you say 300 actions, 300
responding
people,
to phone calls.
how many phones do you have in place?
Quite a number of phones and emails as well. Marami sumasagot.
So the
So
question is,
paano nila nagsabi na ganun nga na
How
hindi
did-
sumasagot?
how did DMW Secretary Hans Kagdak respond to all these complaints of Senator Tulfo?
I don't know. I was not there during the hearing, sir.
But that is pretty concerning because these people are worried. Obviously, they
Yes.
will call you because there's a problem and they want to do something and want to go home perhaps. So the fact that DMW appears to have failed to respond based on the complaints in the Facebook pages of the Senator Tulfo would seem like the government is indifferent in that respect. So how can we be assured that DMW and the DFA are on top of the situation?
Well, I would say generally, in most cases, all calls are being handled, being replied accordingly. Maybe 1 or 2 minority cases only. But in general, they're all being attended to. To be fair also to our men and women in the post, they're working hard. They are working 24/7, especially at this time. And there are people assigned to take care of FB queries, emails, phone calls, and so on and so on.
I have a question. Go ahead.
Pero
Go ahead.
anyway, kahit nga si Secretary Leon Kakdak, diba nanawagan na siya na mag-resign yung mga ganong mga tao na who are not helping our kababayans. Diba? But aside from those sa area ng sa Middle East, actually, do you have a hotline also here? You should have a hotline also kasi mga relatives dito
Correct.
worried sa mga anak nila eh.
Our
Mga kamag-anak,
our
relatives.
hotline here, DMW always
Baka naman wala rin sumasagot.
1348.
Wait, sorry. Can you repeat the hotline again?
Hotline is
We
1348.
just dial 1348.
Yes.
And there's a hotline
Yes,
already.
there's a hotline.
I have a question. Obviously, people will complain and will talk to anybody in the hotline. No? My question is, are your phones, are the conversations recorded? Because that's how you protect yourself against complaints. For
Yes,
instance,
yes.
like, walang sumasagot, and then that's the reason why banks do have a recorded conversations. So as to, for purposes of documentation, and subject, of course, to data privacy. But that is something that you could use as a basis to say, I'm sorry, Senator, we have a number of calls that we have fielded, number of questions we have fielded. So these are the number. So is it something that maybe perhaps to counter the accusations that di kayo sumasagot, why don't you just put up and have your phone conversations recorded?
That's a very good. Very
Diba,
good.
subject to data privacy.
Or at the very least, may logbook.
Yes, at the very logbook.
Logbook.
But the best
Tumawag
evidence-
ito yung concern niya, ito yung action.
For phone calls, I think that's a good idea, the very recording system. Yeah.
In Facebook,
But
there shouldn't be a problem.
For emails, yes.
There's documentation
There's
already.
documentation, yes.
So the problem was the complaint against DMW is unmanned yung mga phone calls. So but if you have phone conversations recorded without disclosing the names of those who call, you could present that as best evidence that we are responsive to the complaints of our people. I mean, how much would it cost anyway? So,
Yeah.
di ba? Parang some suggestion lang. Because
Tama. That's a very good point.
nakakahinahit, gobyerno tayong tatlo dati.
Yeah.
We do our best, and then one or two complaints come out,
Lahat tayo masama.
damay-damay na.
That's usually
What's
the case,
worse is, if talagang marami nag-complain, talagang dagsana talaga, there's validity to the complaints. Di ba? Some suggestion lang.
That's a very good, very good point, no? The ICT siguro ang magtrabaho niya.
Hindi, ano lang yan. Bibili ka lang ng recording.
Ganon?
That's no-brainer. Diba?
Tama yun. But anyway, in general, Yusek, tingin mo ba tayo talagang nakahanda? Di ba, there was a emergency cabinet meeting last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tayo ba talaga nakahanda? Buti nga ngayon, parang nagtitapered off na yung issue, pero...
Well, I think so. Naka-ready tayo. In fact, nung February 28, when US and Israel hit bomb Tehran, we immediately had a consultation meeting with all the post embassies, consulates, together with DFA and DMW, and as well as our labor offices in the Middle East. Then after that, meeting with the office of the Executive Secretary, then one by one we had meetings with the Filipino community leaders in all these countries in the Middle East, and then asking for feedbacks from them, suggestions, concerns, and of course yung kamustahan, asking them where they are. Most of them are of course calm. They're they said they're far from the high risk places.
Actually, Sec Edwin, in fairness, ang dami kong kababayan talaga doon sa Middle East. Lahat naman yata dahil 2 million plus. No? In fairness, karamihan sa kanila, okay daw sila.
Ganun.
Ang mas malaking problema, yung mga relatives dito na hindi makatulog, iyak ng iyak, yun ang na dapat na-address na-address ng ng gobyerno.
Kasi baka ang
ng
concern,
DMW.
walang maipadala sa
Remittance.
Yun ang problema.
Paano ka magpapadala kung hindi ka makalabas, di ba?
So that's the reason why we are also advising OFWs and their families to be careful in posting in social media, to always abide with the host country regulations, advices, as well as yung mga advisories na coming from the embassies, and then avoid forwarding, sharing unconfirmed, unverified FB post and videos.
Pero, tama. In fairness sa mga kamag-anak dito sa Pilipinas, importante yung remittance, pero mas importante talaga yung safety ng ating
Pero in fairness, you mentioned the meeting with the Executive Secretary.
Yes, yeah.
Ang alam ko doon, pina-identify na ni ES lahat ng relatives na mayroong kamag-anak sa for possible intervention eventually.
Yes, that's the directive also of the President, to make sure that we can give all possible assistance to OFWs and as well as their families here, and to ensure safety, which is first and foremost, safety of our workers in the Middle East and affected areas.
Ano na nangyari doon sa kababayan natin na casualty sa
Sa Israel.
Sa Israel.
Si Mary Grace
Israel,
Dever.
Yeah. It's a caregiver, 32 years old, Unfortunately,
Naiuwi na or
nandun pa po, wala pang airport still closed, but
Oh, okay.
there being...
pero paano saan may
ang husband niya,
nakaburol?
nandun naman yung husband niya, so we pinoprocess na yung mga formalities for the shipment of remains.
Pero anong plano nila iuwi dito or
Yun, sir.
they're being attended to by our
Yes,
embassy
by
and our departments and
labor
agencies?
office, migrant workers office, and OWA for purposes of shipment of the body.
We're looking at a situation that perhaps this may be protracted. President Trump said it will take us around 4 weeks. But as a policy, knowing that the Middle East will always be a flashpoint, have you looked at, do we need to move out our Filipino FWs to some other countries? Because at some point, it's going to really it will be a conflagration in that area.
Yeah. Of course, the Middle East has been always our traditional labor
Right.
market, but we are slowly opening, leveraging with our counterpart countries in Europe. We know that there's a shortage of labor, caregivers, doctors, nurses, healthcare workers in Europe.
Even
and one by one they're
even
coming to us.
agricultural workers in Europe.
Yes. So one by one they're coming to us, trying to enter into MOUs on labor cooperation, and we are also focused on upskilling, especially in the care economy. So we want to upskill our domestic workers so they can move up the ladder to become caregivers, and try Europe.
But have we seen a shift of the number of Filipino OFWs? It's still the main, Middle East is still the main.
Yes.
But have we seen a shift towards the
We
European
have seen a
countries?
growing number of third country recruits, third country cross-border hiring going to Europe.
Yeah,
More and more
marami
Filipinos are going
akong na-meet halimbawa nasa Croatia sila. Galing na sila sa Middle East.
True, yes.
Yan, ganun yung sinasabi third
Have you
cross-country
identified
recruitment.
the rising countries which are hiring Filipino OFWs in Europe?
In Europe, of course, we have long time already. We have UK,
UK.
and we recently, for the last 3 years, we have entered with Austria for healthcare workers, Slovenia, Croatia, and we are under negotiation with Finland, Luxembourg,
Oh, okay.
Germany as well.
Pero
Of course,
mo-
we have this triple win program for Germany. So
Alam mo, Yusek, Sir Edwin, ako may personal experience dyan. Problema natin sa DMW, CHED, and other agencies, DFA, may lumapit sa akin gustong magdala ng mga kababayan natin doon sa Europe, sa Norway, Finland, etc. Hirap na hirap sila maka-recruit dito sa atin. Natatalo tayo ng ibang bansa.
yeah,
In fact, sinabi ko to kay Senator Bam nung nagkita kami. Ang laki ng problema natin, ang daming requirements, bureaucracy. Sabi ko, paano?
Okay. Bureaucracy ang problema natin?
Oo, tingin ko. Yun ang reklamo nila eh.
no, that's the general misconception. But we are generally following this regular pathway of migration, which involves documentation, of course. It cannot be just an open system without
Yes,
without
but apparently,
necessary protection.
iba ang procedure ng DMW, DFA, CHED.
No, but when
Iba-
it comes
iba hindi
when it comes to
tutugma eh.
recruitment, it's the Department of Migrant Workers. So we have been trying to simplify the requirements through digitalization and shortening the process, of course. And part of it is ensuring that the employers are really in existence, and our OFW applicants will not fall prey into scam or illegal recruitment. So that's to make sure about that.
So let's go to the tough question. We have people on the ground. We have the consulates, embassies. Based on the sources that you have on the ground, how soon do you see an end to this war?
Well, that's a political question. From the standpoint of a military analyst, I'm not
So you are
an
not,
expert on that.
you're just doing it on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, based on scenario as conditions come in, and of course there are the trigger factors that would give rise to the raising of alert level from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, as the case may be.
So what's the worst, in the countries that we have many Filipinos, what's the situation that is, in your perception, is the country that we should take a look into and protect the Filipinos there?
All countries, of course, we should be taking a look at giving proper attention. But insofar as the present conflict is concerned, we have to give focus also in Israel and those affected by missiles being thrown by Iran.
Another tough question is, we've already afforded assistance at least to Mary Grace de Vera, at least. Will you offer the same assistance to other casualties in case new incidents will happen?
Sure, definitely. Meron tayong programa po for everyone or in distress and victims of war, calamities.
So meron
Tapos
talaga.
Part of the action
yung
fund,
relatives nila dito na hindi nakakatanggap ng ano, do we have program for that?
Yes.
For families left behind, nakakatanggap po sila, especially pag death benefits. Of course, the benefits will go to them, end of service benefits. And they're also being assisted in terms of livelihood, reintegration, because after all, they're part of the OFW families. So they have access to the programs and services of OWA, reintegration services, livelihood programs, yes.
Did you already, another tough question, did you already, nag-suspend na ba kayo ng pag-flow ng OFWs to the Middle East right now?
Right now, there is no suspension yet because there's no alert level that would justify.
No, but you mean to say,
banning.
Israel, you're not stopping the entry of Filipino OFWs to Israel to Jordan?
Even before the conflict started, it's already alert level 2. We are not sending workers to Israel, even for caregivers and hotel workers.
But yung neighboring countries like Turkey,
For Lebanon as well, we are
Syria.
not sending because of alert level. It's also the same.
When you
as
say you're
Israel.
not sending, dito pa lang, pag exit sila, Israel ang pupunta nila,
Automatic po yun.
In coordination with Commission on Immigration.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So the whether we suspend the deployment depends on the alert level system.
Right.
The level declared
Okay.
by the Department of
So that's
Foreign
automatic
Affairs.
on the
Automatic,
part. So
yes.
you don't have to inform immigration,
Yes,
the counters
yes.
there. Alam na nila if alert level 2, hindi ka pwede
So if it's
pumasok.
alert level 2, there's no deployment of new hires. But we allow
Yung returning.
balik manggagawa, returning workers.
But you're subjecting them to the same danger.
oh yeah.
Well, because they're already familiar with the place and they know that the assumption is they can take care of themselves. I mean, not like newly hired workers.
Oh.
Okay. And last question. What is we have the remittances of our OFWs are pretty big. I don't know how much is it right now. 30-something billion or more than?
Yeah, 32 billion.
32 billion. Of the 32 billion, how much of the remittances can be traced to the Middle East?
Oh, I'm not particularly sure about the percentage, but I think the bulk also is in the Middle East.
So,
Yun.
is
So
it
affected
a
talaga.
possible conclusion that our OFW remittances will be affected?
If there will be job displacement, yes, I think so.
Right now, we're not seeing any job displacement.
There's none,
Except for
no
the
reported.
1,400, I understand 1,400 Filipinos have come back or have been repatriated or what?
Those who have been repatriated, they're mostly finished contract.
Okay. So,
decided to
hindi
come
talaga
back.
because of
And
ano?
Not because-
so far,
okay.
no issue in sending money to their relatives.
Yes,
Walang ganun.
So right now, we don't see any job displacement or because of the conflict. No.
Yung iba na lang siguro, nag-hold back na lang yung mga kababayan natin. Yan ang problema.
Yeah.
Sige, thank you, Yusek Jun. Jun Rasul of DMW. It was a very, at least we now know about the alert levels and when is it triggered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In times of war and uncertainty, the safety and welfare of our OFWs, our modern-day heroes, the main drivers of our economy, should never be an afterthought. It should always be our government's priority. I'm former Secretary Edwin Lacierda.
and former Governor Ben P. Evardone,
And we are the Spokes.